point of having me on film and not pulling it from a teacher in wherever is that it's how I speak, it's how I act, it's how I deliver instruction in the classroom. What's something that you remember you heard from the video last night?
In which book does Miss Mackle receive a quilt as a gift?
My team is Raging Readers, and I think that we're gonna win this year.
My students were definitely surprised when I told them what I did, but it showed the kids that they can accomplish anything, and that no matter what age, they could do it.
We have a little mixture of some dancing, like the monkey dance or the chicken dance for the little kids, and then the bigger kids, we have calisthenics for them. But they all have to do everything. We try to mix it up a little bit so they all have something to look forward to.
Hello and welcome. I'm Sean Spiller, the host of Classroom Close-Up New Jersey. We begin with a story. One day, after realizing how often students needed help during homework assignments, a couple of teachers considered the following. What if they could switch the lecture part of the day with the homework part of the day? So they tried it. A decade or so later, the flipped learning concept is thriving. And you know it must be working when kids are flipped over math.
Good morning, boys and girls. Last night you watched lesson 9.4, and it was on understanding and measuring angles. The children watch a video that I film the night before to kind of expose them to the concepts that we're going to be working with the next day in class. What's something that you remember you heard from the video last night?
You already know one angle. If you try to find the other one, you have to subtract.
There's a lot of elements to the flipped classroom in order for it to work smoothly. The filming alone takes a great deal of time because the way that I do it is that I use my textbook content, so I go onto their site and I kind of cut and paste into a smart notebook file that allows it to be interactive. And then once that file's created, then I need to find time to get into the classroom to actually film it. So filming can take, depending on how many takes I need to articulate my concept to my liking, it takes some time. At this time, boys and girls, you've been flipped. We'll see you tomorrow.
One of the features of doing a flipped model that I really welcome is that it brings me into the children's homes. That helps the parents see exactly how we're learning math as fifth graders. After you finish the video, what did you then do? Aditya?
Apply what you learn to the work.
Okay.
It makes it very much easier for us to explain it to them at home if you're doing it, and they always have the option of coming back to their teacher and asking. So I think the transparency also is a big advantage in the flipped classroom.
This has been going on for several years here. Our two teachers have been pioneering the efforts and really taking it and modifying and adjusting it year after year, but they've seen quite success with it.
You will need your protractor for this activity.
My oldest daughter was in the first year that Mrs. Vaquero flipped her classroom, and so we really used the videos a lot that year. And then now this is my second child going through it, so we've really loved it since she started this process.
With these videos, I found them amazing because it's her own teacher saying exactly the lesson, and she's following it, she's stopping it, she's taking notes, she's rewinding it, so it's great.
If you don't understand what the lesson is about, then you could replay the video, and you can't replay what your teacher says in real life. You don't have a play button on your teacher. You have that on the computer.
The whole point of having me on film and not pulling it from a teacher in wherever, having their teacher in their home with them is that it is me. It's how I speak, it's how I act, it's how I deliver instruction in the classroom. Okay, so we're going to be reinforcing our skills from today that we watched last night, along with what we've been doing using the protractor to draw.
Miss Mitchell records the video, and she does it just as if we were actually in the classroom. So it's like classroom at home. We do our homework, and then we rate ourselves, 1 to 4, seeing how good we did.
1 is when you don't get the subject at all. 2 is when you're like, I don't get it, I really need help. 3 is like, I understand it, but I think I need a little bit of help. 4 is like, I'm like really good with it. I understand the topic.
Did anything in going over this, did it change your rating at all? Did it make it stronger if it was lower? It does put a little bit of responsibility and ownership on them to be cognizant of their own learning.
I had to replay the video because I did forget the steps, but only because I wasn't sure if I had to like do every single part of it since it was a rectangle or just...
I can differentiate and really meet their needs instead of kind of giving it to everyone when some children already understand it.
Last night, this tripped up a few of us. Some angles were vertical. Once the children watch the video, apply their understanding, and evaluate their understanding, they come to me in the morning with the fruits of their labor. And I then look at that and I'm able to group the children and differentiate the instructions so I can give each grouping what they need. So if you're staying up front with me, where are you in your learning? Are you at the surface? Are you deeper? Or are you at the transfer level? Where are you, Shuviksha?
The flipped classroom by no means is easier than the traditional teaching model because I am, at my choosing, on call after the school day ends. Tonight you're going to watch a video that is going to kind of review all the skills that we learned. When they go home, whenever that is that they start it, I'm connected to them. If they have questions about the material, they'll ask me. And since this is my idea, what I chose to do for them, I feel it's my responsibility to respond to them.
It really takes a lot of dedication on the part of the teacher in order to make the flipped classroom work. And ultimately, I think it's really beneficial to the students.
Now she's more confident going to the class, discussing ideas, because before, if she did not get the subject during class, she would be intimidated or shy, not raising her hand and asking a question, and she just be quiet the entire class. But now she knows the topic, she knows the subject, and she's better prepared.
I have seen a great deal of improvement in my students, not just mathematically, with their own personal confidence in the area of math. To change a dislike for math to really feeling that this is something that they can overcome and accomplish and actually be good at and enjoy, isn't that why we're here? That's because of the flipped classroom.
I love flipped.
Consider Lori's statement. Students are discovering that a subject they once disliked is actually something they can do well and enjoy. There's power in learning, power to open a portal to opportunities and ideas, to connect people and communities, and maybe even to inspire some friendly competition. Here we are at the Battle of the Books, and you can tell the excitement in this room. I mean, this is just tremendous. What gave you the idea to get involved and do this?
Actually, my son, who's a senior in high school now, when he was in middle school, his school did this, but they participated in America's Battle of the Books, where you pick a top team from your school that moves on to competition with other schools. We, Mrs. LaCastro and I, presented it to our principal, but the three of us decided it would be better to be able to include all students who wanted to participate, so we decided to keep it just in-house, and everyone can participate, everyone comes out, the families come out and just have one battle where they all compete.
All right, so here we go with our first question, 21 questions. Are you ready? In which book is the family so poor that all they eat is bread with margarine, boiled potatoes, and cabbage? We get 16 answers.
At the beginning of the year, any students that are interested come to a Battle of the Books meeting. They form teams. We assign them to a coach.
Kids always come up to me and say, I'm just not a reader, Ms. Delente. And I tell them, it's not that you're not a reader, you just haven't found your right book yet. Everybody has a book, you just haven't found it yet.
Before I came to Bowe School, I really was not much of a reader. I don't know how, but I just started reading. Once I got into Bowe School, I guess it was all the fun books that I saw.
As it gets closer to the battle, we have all the teams, they come and they decorate their t-shirts. People, what was your favorite book on the list to read? Malachi, which one was your favorite?
Mine will probably have to be The View from Saturday.
Why?
Because I love how in the beginning it just went from a whole academic. I'm a very competitive guy, so I like to compete a lot.
In which book does Miss Mackle receive a quilt as a gift?
There's 21 books that they all have to read combined. I had 7 students on my team, so each student took 3 books.
Yeah, no, we need one more intro.
Here we are between rounds. Tell me what's going on.
We just had our first round where we had 17 teams participating in the battle. They answered 21 questions, and now we are knocking out 7 of the teams and taking the top 10 teams to move on to the second round.
Well, I got to tell you, based on the excitement in the room, it sounds like everybody's in the lead.
And the whole TV crew for doing this. Let's go.
Okay, are we ready? All right, so those of you continuing on to round 2. Question number 1. In which book does someone say, once I sit, it's hard to get moving again?
When you read, you can just like get out of the world and put yourself in the book. I think I like reading because when I was younger, my mom, she would always read to us one book every night since we were like babies.
What's it like being part of that team for her?
Well, I think for her, she meets new friends that have the same interests. And I noticed that because she has those same interests, she builds stronger friendships. Because they have the common things, of reading books together, they go to the library, they can do different things together.
I kind of want to win because last year I didn't win.
Real girls read? Girl Power 2.0? And Owls in Reading. Congratulations to all of our teams. All right, you ready? In which book is a team composed of a redhead, a blonde, a brunette, and a kid with hair as black as ink on paper? And the answer is The View from Saturday.
In today's educational world, there's so much push on testing and, sometimes we lose focus of what we're really here for, and that's to give a love of learning. And I think it's a great thing for the kids to come in and be able to have fun with it, to kind of lose all the stress that goes along with that and just get back into what we're here for, and that's to love learning and love reading and just love being here in general.
I definitely love being there. Up next, safeguarding our four-legged crime fighters, right after this.
The work we do in our classroom is really important. And I think that that's something that we need to reinforce, how very lucky we are to live in this country where we can all get an education and we can all move on. My dream for my group is for them to leave me with improved, increased literacy. And I would also in the process like them to leave my room a little kinder and a little gentler.
We have with us special guests from the Middlesex County Sheriff's Department. Today we had the Middlesex County Sheriff's Department come in. They gave a talk about the canine dogs that they are partnered with.
Although Jim Wiater is a carpentry teacher, he wanted the students here at Middlesex County Vocational to learn more about canines and their fellow officers.
I run 2 dogs. I have an explosives detection canine that's also cross-trained in firearms, and I have a narcotics detection canine.
It's good because a lot of people only see it from TV. It's nice to let them learn a little bit more about how we train the dogs and what these dogs actually do.
Does anybody know what this is? It's simply a rolled up towel, but every single one of our dogs, as soon as they become our working dogs, this is going to be the only toy they will ever have as long as they're a working dog.
They gave a very well-detailed explanation to the students on what it took to get these dogs to where they're at.
The officers lead the canines around the auditorium to demonstrate how they locate either drugs or explosives that are hidden somewhere in the room.
We prefer German Shepherds just because they have the longer snout, which allows them to smell a little bit better. And
The dog went around the room and ultimately got to where it was, and they did what his alert is sit. He sat, and then we pay him with his toy, which is his towel, which ultimately what these dogs, when they're working, they don't know they're working. They think they're looking for their toy. From the moment I wake up in the morning until I go to sleep, they're with me. They're with me all day long.
There's a second part to this that you guys don't know about. The reason why these gentlemen are here with their partners is because of a project I've been working on. Last year, I wrote and published a children's book. It's called The Adventures of Solo.
Jim's inspiration came from an actual event involving a canine officer.
I read an article. It was about a canine officer named Solo who was at the police standoff in Bradley Beach, New Jersey.
This 22-hour standoff back in 1998 ended with an officer sending in his canine partner to subdue the armed suspect.
The handler knelt down, told his dog basically what to do, and he said, "I knew I'd never see my dog again."
Unfortunately, Solo was shot and killed in the standoff. But Solo's memory lives on. The proceeds from Jim's book go towards purchasing body armor for canines.
I read that story, I cried, but I made a promise to myself that one day I would buy body armor, and I'm paying it forward. So, Bryn, if you come up and accept your vest, I'd be more than happy to give it to you, dear. We were able to purchase a piece of body armor for the Middlesex County Sheriff's Department, which ranges in prices from $800 to $2,800. She's always in a line of danger, no matter where she goes, and Kevin is much happier knowing that his dog is at least protected.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Around what age does the dogs usually retire?
It varies. Usually 7 to 9 years for Shepherd. They start getting...
It's telling the students, I'm a carpentry teacher, and now I'm going to make a book because I can do it. It tells a person you can do anything.
It's just a lifesaver.
The book is amazing, actually. I really like it.
I got 2 people to buy a couple books, and a couple of my friends want to buy one because my one friend's actually becoming a police officer.
My students were definitely surprised when I told them what I did as far as writing a book. I never thought in my life I would ever write a book. But it showed the kids that they can accomplish anything, and that no matter what age, they could do it.
The one thing I'll always remember about Mr. Wiater is that I learned really well from him.
Jim is an outstanding educator, and he takes education very serious, and he really has a great relationship with all the kids, not just the ones that he teaches, but all the kids in the school. You know, we all have a dream, and he made his dream into a reality. And I'm really proud of him. I'm proud to say he's a friend of ours.
And then, of course, on the very last page, Solo receives his Medal of Valor. As Solo stood there proudly with the medal around his neck, he could hear one of the other police dogs say, "He really is the big dog." I knew it was something that was dear to my heart. I always loved dogs. I had dogs of my own. I knew I just had to keep that promise someday. I'm glad that instead of just buying one piece of body armor like my initial promise was, I'm up to 3 now, and I hope it keeps on growing.
If you were to go back and change anything, what would you change about like the whole trial and everything?
I'm gonna remember him, and I'm gonna remember never give up on anything. Anything I ever want to do in life, never give up.
And I need help for the young people to get that idea across in order to save your lives.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Don't forget to do it now.
Okay.
Boys and girls, it's time for Project ACES. Let's get ready to exercise.
ACES stands for All Children Exercise Simultaneously. It's a whole fun activity where kids get to exercise and see that exercise isn't just hard work, it's really fun.
The basic concept is to get kids exercising around the country and the world today at 10 o'clock their local time. And it's a motivating tool to get them to love exercise and to lead healthy lifestyles and just to promote physical activity and physical education.
It's really interesting and cool because kids are doing this too at the same exact time. So it's interesting to think that they're actually doing it.
Well, we started it back in 1989. This is the 29th year. And the whole idea was to get 5 elementary schools in Montville to exercise at the same time. But what happened, the word caught on, and somebody from New York heard about it from a friend, and they said, "Can we join you?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And then a teacher I know in Connecticut, I was telling him about it. He said, "Can I join you too?" I'm like, "Okay, this is cool. We got 3 states. Maybe we can try to get all 50. And I started a letter writing campaign to write to schools, and Sports Illustrated heard about it. They wrote about it, and then it just picked up from there. And it was basically going to be a 1-year event, and it just transformed into this yearly event where the first year, 250,000 kids participated, and now there's millions all over the world.
This is really a rite of passage at Valley View Elementary School. The children look forward to it each spring, but they learn about it not just from Mr. Saunders, but their siblings have been through it, their neighbors know about it, the community knows about it. So this is a big, big event at Valley View. And I think it represents the bond we share as a learning community, so it's symbolic of that also.
On 3, we're going to say ACES. Ready? Hands in. 1, 2, 3, ACES! We have 4 leaders, and they're going to go out in front of the whole school body and all the parents and go on a stage, and they're going to exercise. They've been practicing for the last 2 months. We have them come into the gym, and we have them go in front of all the little classes, like the kindergartners, the preschoolers, and we have them practice their routine. And the little kids then pick up what we're going to do, so when they go out there, they're aware of what we're going to do, and they're not nervous, and they all perform to their highest ability. A lot goes on behind the scenes to get it in motion.
When I found out I was a leader, I got very excited. I feel it's a big responsibility because, like, not many people get to do this, and you're being a role model to all the little kids.
I wanted to be an ACES leader because I thought it was going to be really fun and interesting to be a role model for all the other little kids.
I wanted to be an ACES leader because it has like a lot of responsibility and it's fun and you get to like make kids laugh.
We're gonna do different exercises like jumping jacks, push-ups, sit-ups, arm circles.
With a bunch of music and everybody doing it, they feel included in a big fun group. So it'll be really fun.
We have a little mixture of some dancing, like the monkey dance or the chicken dance for the little kids, and then the bigger kids, we have calisthenics for them. But they all have to do everything. We try to mix it up a little bit so they all have something to look forward to.
My favorite exercise is push-ups. It's important for kids to exercise because it helps their minds get strong and their hearts get strong, and it keeps them healthy.
My favorite part is when we stretch because you can exercise with your friends and you and your friends can be happy together.
exercise is something that I try to do every day. Not only is it great for your heart, it's great for your mind. Makes you happy when you do it. So I'm just happy to be here and be a part of it. Thank you, Mr. Saunders.
We've had schools from Japan and China, Poland, Israel. So the program has grown significantly, and it's exciting to see and watch it grow. Basically, how I look at it, if there's 1 million kids participating, if I could change the life of one child out of the millions, the program's a success.
The next annual event is already planned, so mark your calendars for May 2nd, 2018. I know I'm going to try to be there. Mr. Saunders was my PE teacher when I attended Valley View Elementary School. Programs like this work because they motivate kids, connect them with their peers, and inspire them to reach for their dreams, while celebrating teamwork and innovation. Well, that's our show for this week. If you missed any part of it, or to search our video library, please go to classroomcloseup.org. And join us next time for more inspiring stories that happen every day in our great public schools. For Classroom Close-Up New Jersey, I'm Sean Spiller. See you soon.